What is up, Retromaniacs? Welcome to the Retro Card Chat Podcast. My name's Mike. I'm from Mike's Retro Trading Cards, and I'm joined by two men that claim they love to collate cards, but I never see them coming over to collate mine. They, of course, are Joe Day and EP Eric Pahalik. How you doing, guys?
Doing good. I feel really relaxed this morning. I just collated a couple of sets from '99. I feel great. I mean, it's really been
this
nice
will
and relaxing.
all make sense if you watch this Wednesday's video. So
Yes.
Make sure you check that out, and you'll know what we're talking about here. But yeah, no, you're not. You're not.
I had like a half a pot of coffee, so I was all like all jittery, and then I collated some cards, and now I'm feeling good. Feeling good.
I don't believe you. How's it going, boys?
Going good. For Eagle Eye viewers, you might see I've got some additional Kenny Pickett cards up here. I've got Kenny is not spinning.
Kenny's not spinning.
Pitt got their asses handed to them by Notre Dame. It was actually embarrassing. It was 17-0 at half. And we were actually looking good. I'm like, oh, this could be the comeback. It was not. We lost by like 50. And Notre Dame is not that good, to be fair. So that makes Pitt look really bad. But I did pick up some additional Kenny cards. I might have Kenny spin when the Steelers win at this point, because Kenny has won a couple in a row with the Steelers. And I also put up my Kenny Pickett Field Pass, which if you watch our one of our 3 card shows, EP's going to talk about a card that looks very similar to that. So, but yeah, some additional Kenny cards to the collection. Here, let me just
always fun to add to a collection.
Always fun.
How many Pitt holders do you have made up there?
I was wondering that too.
I have more downstairs.
How many did you buy?
Like a whole case.
Confession. How many did you buy?
How big is the box?
Like a baker's dozen. I bought like a baker's dozen.
I feel like you have more than that.
No,
already up there.
Wait.
A baker's dozen of each color, or?
No, I did buy a baker's dozen, but I already reached out to my guy and said I may need some more. So we'll see. We'll see.
That's awesome.
They're cool. They're so cool. They're not as cool as our.
They are, yeah.
They're
cool.
not as cool as our Bulldog, right?
Yeah.
The Mike's Retro Trading Card Bulldog, but they are pretty cool.
Shout out to Scott Spalding, who got one of those, because I'm a nice guy and he bought a lot for me in my stack sale, and he got one.
Mike's not a nice guy. He plays one on TV.
I do. The viewers don't know me. They
don't.
might know a little more about me after Wednesday.
That's
Make
true.
sure you watch the Wednesday show.
Definitely.
I'm just saying, you
Mike's
might want to see it.
Yeah.
Might be interesting. Yeah. How's it going, EP?
It's going great. I texted you guys this week and I said that I have a confession to make. I actually have two confessions.
Ooh.
The first one is that this week I scanned some cards with my feeder scanner and uploaded them to Card Dealer Pro, and that was the first time I did that since June.
Ooh, wow,
long time.
So yeah, it's been a long time. I've been paying for the service the entire time. So have had it, but just had not used it. So I got back from vacation, and then I was in like the get ready for the card show mode, and then another card show, and now it's football season. I work for a newspaper, and Friday during football season it makes for a crazy week. So there hasn't been a ton of time for me to work on cards. Those are all excuses, and I need to make time to do it, and I did it this week. So I need to get some cards listed on eBay. I still have been selling cards, but I haven't been listing. But my inventory is way down. I was over like 700, but I'm down like 384 cards or 304 listings or something like that. So so there's that. And then my other confession is that I think I'm gonna grade most of my cards with SGC over PSA. Don't think I'm going to use PSA much for anything. I've seen we talked about some stuff, and like it seems like a lot of people are doing reveals and they're realizing that they have no idea what the difference between a 7 and a 10 for PSA, where I've had some great SGC I feel has graded my cards correctly based on what I know about the cards every time that I've sent to them. So like if I want my cards graded, I'm probably going to go with them, I guess. Like there are obviously some exceptions. there's a couple Tom Brady cards that in a 7, they're worth $50 more at PSA. So maybe that's something that I think about sending to PSA.
Mhm.
Even though it's, if I think it's an 8, it could come back a 2 or whatever. But I mean, I still think I probably take the gamble with those. But for the most part, I think I'm gonna go with SGC.
Wow. I know it's anecdotal, but I've seen it too, and like I've seen a lot of it on Twitter. Like people just seem to be getting back a lot of cards that they're like, what? And it doesn't make any sense. Like, seems like they like have a limit to how many 10s they want to give you. Like, it feels like, okay, well, we can't give all the cards. Well, if they're all 10s, you really should. But yeah,
it's kind of wild though, because I submitted with Joe, Joe submitted some cards for me. I got card grades that I thought were better than I expected for my Kobe Bryant rookies and for that Michael Jordan insert card. And so they were better than I expected. And so it's weird that I'm not going with them, because I've never graded with them and I've only had good luck with them. But I'm worried about what I see on YouTube and social media. Maybe those are, I'm guessing that they can't be anomalies on all these channels, but. Yeah.
I just read too, the guy that has the shop here that does the writing for Sports Collectors Daily.
Yeah.
He had a story about a customer who sent in a card through him, and it was sent back by PSA that it wasn't min size. And then the guy sent it through another submitter and it came back up PSA 10. So like we've talked about the min size thing before too.
Yeah.
Like, one thing that shouldn't change, like graders are going to have different opinions. If min size should not be an opinion, that has to be a fact. So like, why in the hell is PSA having it kicked back on one and graded on another? Like, it either is or is not the right size. Like, you can't, that's not a judgment call.
And we were talking just like you guys said anecdotally, but the two people I trust the most, especially when it comes to things like this, baseball card collector, investor, dealer, and Alico 3. Alico 3 does a lot of, he just did an SGC reveal and he agreed with pretty much everything they put. He'll do PSA reveals and be like, I don't know what they're doing. This card shouldn't be a 10. This is going on eBay today. Chris Sewell just did a video recently where he was looking at a PSA reveal, and he was like, I don't know what they were thinking with these cards. And there are certain collectors that I trust more than any grader out there. Oh yeah, those are two of them.
I would rather have them grade my cards than anybody at PSA do it, because they know what they're doing. They do.
And the other thing, one last point on EP specifically is, you don't have a PSA membership, right, EP?
No.
Yeah,
so we've talked extra.
Right. We've talked about this before. You've got to factor that into. So even the Brady's that you're thinking of, well, maybe I'll send those to PSA. Just keep in mind, depending on how many cards you send, that's an extra charge that you're going to have to be responsible for when calculating your profit, potential profit. So maybe SGC might even be the call for them, or maybe CGC or someone else. But yeah, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that those even should go to PSA.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, some good news. We actually broke 800 subscribers.
Hopefully when you watch this video, we're still at 800.
Yeah, hopefully by Monday morning when this drops, we'll still have over 800. But wow. Again, we are very thankful to everybody who watches this. If you're watching and you aren't a subscriber, if you might want to help us out and hit that subscription, hit that subscribe button.
We're the little guy.
We're the little guy. Root for us. Yeah. Yes. But I mean, we talk about it every time we hit a milestone. I can't believe there are 800 people in this world that would hit the subscribe button to watch us. I can't believe that.
Yep.
Crazy.
I'm happy they do. We have, and I'll say this about, I watch a lot of YouTube content like all of us do, but like the folks that comment on our videos, the folks that have been there since the beginning. You mentioned Scott, has been there since the beginning.
Super fan.
There's a lot.
I like the
super fan, Scott. Yeah. Like there's a lot of folks like that. We really appreciate it. We love engaging with people in the comments. Like some of the bigger channels, you're not going to get that from. So we really do appreciate that. And I don't know, maybe we should do a celebratory live stream at some point. I've got a busy November, but maybe towards the end of November we can, if we're still at 800. We haven't lost.
We are, yeah. Typically,
Sunday
when we announce it, people are like, "Okay, I'm out."
I'm out. Gotta keep these guys in their place.
Yeah.
Remember when we were talking about this, we're like, should we do it? We should do it. Like, what are we doing? Like, we're not even gonna get 100 subscribers, and here we are, 800. Yeah. It's wild. Like we're probably not even gonna get to 100. Like, whatever. We'll just do it. Whatever.
Was, like in my mind, 100 was the cap.
Yeah,
right.
Because
right.
Keep in mind, and you boys know this, we've talked about this, but for the viewers that don't, we did this show after the boom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we jokingly say, if we started this show a year earlier, or our channel a year earlier, we might be one of those channels with a few thousand subscribers because everyone was just thirsty for hobby content. We came in afterwards. We have a different format, an hour-long show, sometimes more than an hour. So you got to really be invested if you want to watch us, and we appreciate those that are.
We do, and again, just crazy. Like I can't believe it. But we do like to interact with the people, and like we're building a little community here. We always say, I feel like I'm at the card shop. Some of you that comment are weird, but that's okay. We're weird too.
you're kind of
weird. Yeah. Trust me. I had a card shop. I had people just like you that came in all the time. And, sometimes you made me laugh. Sometimes you made me go, huh? But, keep commenting, keep being part of this little community. We love it. We're not like everybody else. We're not here to pump out a bunch of videos and just, report the news as quickly as possible. We're here to just hang out and talk about cards. Might be news, might be something else. If you like that, you're in the right spot. And apparently at least 800 or so of you like it. I don't know why. It's crazy. But I posted the video last week on the Wednesday show about the collection of wax boxes I bought. I was very happy with that purchase. Well, over the weekend, actually Friday evening, I bought another card collection. Now, this isn't boxes yet.
I need some more. I just need some more. Just
a whole lot of junk wax. And, I do like to share my stories with everybody. Spent most of the day yesterday going through the collection, and I quickly realized that I'm going to take a pretty big L on this one. I didn't pay a lot for it. I paid quite a bit less than what the person was asking for. But when you buy collections, especially junk wax era stuff, you're going to get a lot of junk. And you kind of just throw out a number based on the quantity that's there, knowing that a lot of it might not be good. So I had no grand vision of this was going to be the greatest thing ever. But when I started going through it, I quickly realized this had been picked through before. My assumption is, looking at it, I found some cards from like 2021 and 2020 thrown in the tops or ends of some of the boxes. And I came to the conclusion when I was going through 1987 tops hand collated sets, when the Barry Bonds and the Bo Jackson were pulled from all of them, and there were like 4 or 5, that clearly somebody bought this collection in probably the peak in 2020, went through it, probably picked out all those cards, sent them to PSA when it was $8, and then pawned off this collection. I don't know if it was the person I bought it from, somebody before that, and now I am the owner of this collection.
The last man
Congratulations
of these cards.
Got a lot of stuff was picked through. Yeah, like that was the telltale thing. Like, who's pulling the Barry Bonds and Bo Jackson out of a 1987 set? The only person that is, in my opinion, is somebody who a couple years ago were pulling them out and sending cards in to get graded, because that's what everybody was doing. They're like $1, $2 cards. I sell them for $1 in my stack sale. Like, if I have a set, I'm not gonna probably pull all those out for $1. So it had to be somebody who was grading. There was a lot of 89 Fleer, 89 Pro Set, there was some 89 Bowman, even some 89 Upper Deck. But like the Fleer and the Pro Set, you could clearly tell were recently opened because they are like bright and minty and crisp. So I feel like there may have been some sealed wax in with this stuff, because there were 2 boxes of 93 Topps baseball, but they were opened with the cards in there. I haven't even gone through the cards because I'm pretty sure there's no Derek Jeter in there.
What? Oh yeah.
So yeah. So
there might not be.
There might not be. So yeah, clearly somebody, it happens. It's the risk you take when you buy this stuff. You don't know if it's been picked through, and this would really pick through. Now I do have a pile of cards I pulled out of it. I have some stack sale stuff. There were some uncut sheets, which unfortunately one of them is damaged, and one of the 1980 Topps sheets has a card like that was ripped out of it or cut out of it. I need to research to see where the Ricky Henderson was on the uncut sheets, because I'm wondering if there was a Ricky Henderson on one, and like, again, like, why in the world would you cut a card out of an uncut sheet? Like, if there was a Ricky Henderson on
that's not passing through grading authentication.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, there is a really nice 81 Topps uncut sheet, which has the Fernando Valenzuela on it. And there's an 81 Donruss. It has Tim Raines and a bunch of other stars on them. So, not a total loss for me. I'm probably, like, I'm actually thinking about going through the stuff and then just putting the stuff on Facebook for free to get rid of the cards. So I talk about my wins, talk about my losses, and this one probably going to be a loss. Now, again, didn't pay a whole lot for it, but still, kind of a gut punch.
Yeah, that's the thing too. You'll see people buy collections out there for 4, 5, 6 figures. And take L's on it. At least with this, you're pretty low in the cost of it. It just sucks though when you go through stuff and you're kind of excited and then you realize it doesn't take long to realize that you might not make your money back on this one. But again, the risk you take in this hobby if you're going to try and make some money off of it.
And again, I've spent more money on entertainment, like for other forms of entertainment. So getting to go through some of it's not bad. Go ahead, EP.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, how long into the when you got back home and started going through it, like, how long did it take for you to be like, okay, this is gonna be a loss?
Take long. There were a bunch of individual, like 800 count boxes. When you're going through the first couple and they're 87 top sets and you realize those cards are out of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like you very quickly realize if they're pulling those cards out of this, I'm not going to find any key cards out of anything else. And I'm right. I mean, I found cool cards. Like I found, these cool cards.
Don't go into detail. Put them down, Mike.
Yeah.
Make them wait for a C show. We have a Friday show.
I wasn't going to. And I found a card for Joe here.
Yes.
Billy Bean rookie card.
You did find a Billy Bean card for me.
But yeah, I mean, there's stuff in there. Like I found, I think 7 of the Michael Jordan Sam Vincent cards from 1990 hoops. So like I kind of felt good when I got there. I'm like, aha, yeah, you were going through, you Mr. Flipper grader here, pulling out those rookies, but you forgot these. So yeah, I don't know. It's giving me satisfaction when I find things that they didn't know. I'm like, I knew that card had value and you didn't. So, yeah, a value of like $1 or $2.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, big L.
I feel like if you dig deep enough, you're probably going to come close to breaking even, though. Do you think, or there's no chance of even breaking even?
I mean, I might. I have probably maybe 800 to 1,000 cards I pulled out for like stack sale cards, but nothing great, but
at least something though. Like
I have something.
Not all commons.
Yeah, not all common, just most.
Mike seems a little, stressed and worked up about this. I think the best way to calm himself down maybe is to go through that collection, collate it, like the whole thing, and that'll really, really ease your tension about this whole situation. EP, back me up on that.
100%. 100%.
On to Cincinnati.
It would be the exact opposite. I'm guessing.
Right, I think so
Mike.
too.
If you really want to know, make sure you watch Wednesday's show.
Wednesday show.
Be there at 7:00 Wednesday morning if you want to be the
Yep.
first to know. But yeah,
Yep.
see me like you may have never seen me before. We'll just leave it there.
AKA how you see Joe all the time.
All the time. All the time. All right, let's get into it a little bit. Kind of a slow news week, which is fine with me. I hate always having to talk about the same stuff that's going on, but we do have a couple updates to things. Joe, you sent me a screenshot, well, both of us screenshot earlier this week about our old friend Blake Martinez. Apparently, the whole big fairy tale story of quitting the NFL because you can make more money selling Pokemon cards. Apparently, when you cheat people and get kicked off of Whatnot for selling your Pokemon cards, you try to go back to the NFL. Apparently, Blake Martinez had a tryout with the Carolina Panthers, right? Is that who it was?
Yep.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Maybe scamming people isn't the best way to go about running a business. I don't know. All I know is he's trying to get back in the NFL.
Well, it's funny. The websites that I check most often are like eBay and Roto World. So when I was on Roto World, it was like kind of like worlds colliding, like fantasy football and the hobby kind of colliding. When I'm scrolling, I'm like, wait a minute, this is the Pokemon guy, isn't it? And I sent it to you guys. I think it was Thursday. But yeah, I mean, if he's going to go anywhere, it's going to be the NFL because they don't give a shit what you do in the real world. As long as you're good at playing ball, you're good to get back to the NFL. So I'm guessing this means he's not even going to try and do anything else card related. It sounds like this is it. Once he got banned from Whatnot, which again, that's like getting kicked out of the NFL.
Yeah.
You get banned from Whatnot. It's like mind blowing. So
I mean, unless you smoke pot, then you get
right. Then you're really out. Poor Josh Gordon. But yeah, I mean, he got kicked out of Whatnot, and I guess he's just done with cards now, which is kind of fascinating. Like some people get kicked off of Whatnot, or they get suspended from these platforms. Like we talked about a Breaker on Fanatics Live getting suspended. I suspect that Breaker doesn't have an NFL background that they can fall back on. But it sounds like he's out. He's done with cards if he's trying to get back into the NFL.
Yeah, this story actually made like mainstream media. And they included like the Pokemon stuff. Like it wasn't just Real World and the fantasy. Like it was a big deal out of it because it was a kind of a big deal when he quit and decided to go do this. And like you were saying, Joe, with like getting kicked off Whatnot and stuff like that. Like so, in my brain, I'm thinking to myself, so this guy quit the NFL because he knew making allegations here, but he knew he could scam people on Whatnot by selling Pokemon allegedly. Yeah. But
our lawyer alleged if you get kicked off for it. And I think that becomes
our lawyer Paul Lesko told us before the show to say allegedly.
And and so then now
that our alleged
channel lawyer Paul Lesko.
So now that he can't do that, he's not going to do anything with it, and he's going to go back to the NFL. And just it reeks like that. That's just the one way to put it. Like it just reeks. Like, how tough is it to get back in the NFL after you've been away for a year? Like, I'm guessing that he probably kept in shape-ish, but I mean, did he get picked up by the Panthers or not? Did he?
I just looked before we started. I didn't see anything updated. Okay. But it's another story too. I mean, this is a weirder, more like very oddly specific part of the story, but it's another story of someone leaving the card world, like a big card person. I think Dustin did a video about Gary Vee and kind of being out of the card world now. And like these big names, these big pumpers of cards for the longest time during the boom are like, I'm out. I've done what damage I could do, and I'm out.
You don't repump. You just
right. You just get out of it. And Blake Martinez is a very specific case because he has the NFL to fall back on. Same thing with Gary Vee. He has his NFTs and all that stuff to fall back on. But they came into this hobby. They made a big stir, and then they got out of it for different reasons. But still, I mean, it's kind of the same story, right? I mean, these big names just coming in and getting out. And say what you will about Jeff Wilson. I'm not a fan. he's stuck. He's stayed with it throughout the entire
And
process. So I have to respect that a little bit.
What he is a little bit too, and he
quite a bit, I think.
He is becoming more collector based with his content, and
opening up a
shop. Like I give him credit for that. Of course, when you have a lot of subscribers on YouTube and you make a lot of money from that, you might need to find a pivot to be able to stay relevant. But I'm not saying that's the case there. But I will say in the Blake Martinez case, something that goes back to what I said originally. This is all a great story that was put out in the media, but he wasn't really that good of a football player anymore by the time he left. This whole narrative of, I sold a $5 million poem, whatever it was, like I can make more money doing that than playing football. He really wasn't wanted in the NFL. And the fact that you have to try out for the Carolina Panthers and not even get signed kind of points to the fact that maybe he was at the end of his run in the NFL. And I'm not taking anything away from that. If you were good enough to get to the NFL, I'm impressed. Anybody who is good enough to get to any professional sports league, even play at like a high college level, come on, they're way better than I was at it. So I'm not
even
disparaging that. Even pickleball.
Pickleball.
But the whole thing was kind of a joke to begin with and made a great story.
It was great PR, exactly.
It was great PR for him to be able to then turn around and scam people. So screw Blake Martinez. I hope he doesn't get re-signed. And I hope if anybody does re-sign him, they quickly realize that, maybe we shouldn't have done that because he doesn't deserve it. It's gross that he can just try to go back to the NFL because he screwed people in the hobby and then can just go out and still make a good living playing football.
And the fact that the only team he had to try out with is a team that most likely is going to end up with like a top 3 pick tells you that like a team that is in the playoff hunt is not in need of his particular set of skills.
If he were wanted, teams would be contacting him and offering him
with all the injuries in the NFL.
Making him try
yes, exactly.
Exactly. Okay, we also talked a little while ago. I believe it was the blank cards that were thrown out from, was it Immaculate Draft Picks, the baseball? That the guy who found them in the dumpster apparently has made a deal with Panini to send them back. The big issue there were the blank autograph stickers that had the Panini logo and stuff on them. And apparently it sounded like he got a little bit of compensation. Good for him. Good for him.
Yeah.
So those will be now taken off the market. And I applaud Panini too for realizing that, oh crap, it's probably not good to have those stickers and cards just, floating around in the hobby. So I do applaud them for making a monetary deal to get them back.
I'd love to know how much this guy got for him. Am I remember correctly? He was like the janitor or he was something in that building. Like, and
the trash chute was like blocked. Like, and he had to clear
like
it
the
out.
super or something. So it's cool that he got a little cheddar cheese out of that. I will say again, we talked about Blake Martinez and the scamming thing. Those stickers, we don't have to relitigate it or anything, but those stickers, man, talk about getting rife with potential scamming ability. I
not
mean,
even potential. They would have.
They would have.
Yeah.
Well, no, our channel lawyer has said I have to say would have potentially. I can't say
could
absolutely.
Possibly have
could
been.
Possibly. But so I mean, it's great that those got taken off the market, and Panini's probably like, well, we'll buy them because we'll probably just reuse those stickers.
That'll save us some money.
Away. Yeah, that'll
be cheaper to buy those than to print more.
Do you know how many lawyer bills we have right now? We need to get those things back. We need to save some cash somewhere.
Well, speaking of lawyers' bills, and speaking of our hobby lawyer here, our channel lawyer, he doesn't know that. For the record, Paul has no idea he's our channel
once
lawyer,
you agree to be on 8 questions,
exactly. We can use
his grandfather
any capacity as you want. You're part of.
He should have read the contract. If he's a good lawyer, he would have read that contract.
Exactly. But he had some updates on a couple lawsuits. that involved Panini. Go figure, because they're involved in every lawsuit in the hobby. But yeah, first of all, it turns out that the WWE, they had, they're also trying to fight. I forget how this worked. There was the temporary restraining order, but now there's another hearing that's similar to that Paul himself has said Panini's probably going to win, because their whole argument was, well, we won the temporary restraining order, so for the same reasons we should win this one too. So they probably will, but that's really not here nor there. There was a little nugget in that was released that apparently the WWE is not authorizing any of the new sets that Panini is trying to produce and put out. So, go figure, WWE being vindictive. Like, do you know Vince McMahon? Like, look at his history. Yeah, apparently that's why there haven't been any new wrestling card sets out, because WWE is not approving the ones that Panini has ready to go. Interesting little nugget.
So I said when the story first came out, I forget if it was after they had won the TRO case, and I made the comment, I can just see Vince McMahon telling wrestlers, don't you dare sign anything for Panini. This is even worse than that. This is Vince McMahon saying, no, I don't. Well, not Vince McMahon specifically, but this is the WWE saying, we're not even letting you put sets out, let alone getting autographs for these sets. And, it's fun to like kind of, look at Panini as this bumbling company. But at the end of the day, if I was a WWE card collector, I'd be pissed at the WWE.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be mad
not
at Panini.
good.
Yeah.
This is not great at all. I mean, you have people out there. I don't collect ultra modern for the most part, and I don't collect wrestling. Mike, you do quite a bit more of that, but like, I'd be so ticked off if the NFL told Panini, hey, we're not going to approve any of these sets. I mean, so you're just not going to have cards until Topps officially gets the license? Is that WWE's game here? Like, we're going to lose the TRO, right? And we're going to not allow Panini to make sets. So in effect, we're going to win the TRO, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of.
Like,
win at all costs
win at all costs, right? So I don't understand it.
Well, and the thing is, like, my initial reactions, my snap reaction to this was the buyer, like the collectors, are the ones that are going to suffer again. Like we talked about a number of times. So all the litigation that's going on, it's the collectors that are taking the brunt of this. I mean, obviously the companies aren't making their money, but I mean, for us in the hobby, like this, like we enjoy this, like, but then they're taking this away from us by going through all these different court cases. It's upsetting. Even though I don't collect them, it's still upsetting to me.
Yeah, and it is upsetting to me. I'm not the biggest Panini fan in the world, but they put out nice WWE product. Like, I'm never gonna say that they aren't. So I bought quite a bit of it. If you look above my shoulder over there, I have quite a bit of new stuff.
I can see some immaculate Paul Heyman,
and I have a lot to go in there. I need to do the great reorganization there, but yeah. Some other news too. Apparently, like Paul made the comment this week about the antitrust lawsuit with Fanatics and Panini, that it's going to take a long time. Like, they have the schedule that was put out for some of the hearings, and it's going to be a long, drawn out process. I know Dustin had a video about that out this week too, and he, basically what I've been saying all along, like, what is the end game for Panini? You're losing the license, so you're spending all this money. Clearly, in my opinion, they're just trying to increase their bargaining position. They need leverage to be able to sell out. I honestly think that at some point you'll see a settlement on this, and Panini will give up the rights. Like, what else could it be? What are you gonna litigate something for 2 years for when you're gonna lose the license after that anyway?
So I'm wondering with the timeline, and again, spitballing, not a lawyer, I have no idea.
We are nowhere near lawyers. Everything we say is just us talking.
Right. I'm wondering, like, could Panini keep this court case going long enough that it starts eating into Fanatics' ability to make football cards? I mean,
wouldn't think.
Contract will expire, so their contract will expire, and
right.
the new
But
one
if
will
there's
start, right? So
like, yeah, you would think, but I don't know. Like, unless it is the only other explanation, like you said, Mike, and we've said this before as well, is like they're just trying to improve their bargaining capability. But at a certain point, you're so deep into this that it's like Fanatics is like, fine, screw it. We'll let the court case go till 2025, and then we'll start making cards. What, like, at this point, what's it matter to them?
Yeah.
Like, they're, I
like
just I
really
don't understand that.
only two options that I can see are trying to increase your leverage, or do they think there's a Hail Mary at the end of this that a court will rule that Fanatics can't have the license? I don't know. Like,
But that doesn't
that
mean the
seems,
court's going to rule Panini gets it,
yeah,
right? Like,
that sounds highly unlikely to me.
Right.
Like, that feels like the long shot bet. So it has to be that they're trying to increase their value in a settlement.
Because in that
like,
scenario,
ahead.
just to go off the Hail Mary comment real quick, because in that scenario, it's not like the court's gonna award then the contract to Panini.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just, again, back to your point, EP, about the collector's the only one losing here, because they're not going to award it Panini. They're saying Fanatics can't have it under this Hail Mary scenario. So what, is Upper Deck getting it? Which I'd be cool with. But is Upper Deck getting it? Is Leaf getting it? Like, who's then making these football cards and potentially basketball cards? Like, how does that shake out that it makes any sort of sense for the collector?
Yeah, there's no way they're going to just like end the contracts that they've already signed with Topps for once Panini's contract's over. Like they're not going to make that go away. Courts can't make that go away. I don't think, like, that just seems crazy to me. And like to your point, Mike, like Panini is probably thinking, if this goes on long enough, then the Fanatics will just say, okay, well, we'll buy you guys if you can drop the lawsuit, and that is what they want. So
it has to be a settlement. Like,
yeah,
it has to. And like,
no,
I fully like, Fanatics, you're spending so much money on the hobby. Give them a little more. Like, go back, find the number. Like, they clearly want to take over sooner than they were going to.
Wasn't there some language in like the WWE lawsuit that indicated that there was an impending purchase at one point, like that?
Oh yeah,
that Fanatics was gonna purchase that Panini, and that was part of the reason why they made the deal, right? Isn't that?
Yeah.
But,
people from Panini had told them that this was possibly going to happen. I think that's all part of the negotiations they had. Remember when all the rumors were floating that they were going to buy Panini?
Yep.
Turns out it was really just the license, but still, I mean, there has to be a settlement. Like, there's no good for the hobby for this to just go through to completion.
Right.
No good for any party involved, I don't think either. Like, like, you're gonna burn everything down, and there's not gonna be anything left for anybody at the end of this, I feel.
Buy Panini, make it a subsidiary like you did with Topps, and have two card companies basically under the Fanatics umbrella, and have them both make the IP that they have. Obviously, Fanatics, the overarching umbrella of it, telling Panini you can't charge $1,000 for a box of Prism, but like that, I don't think the hobby is best served with Panini, the IP that Panini has going away.
Yeah,
Panini can go away, whatever. The hobby is not better served with that IP going away. So I really hope that Fanatics listens to us, but listens to the hobby folks, and realizes that people really love those old Pacific products that Panini has control of, those old playoff products. People, better like them or hate them, love kabooms. They love downtowns. Like, understand that, and then make that part of your calculus when you're going out there to potentially buy out Panini or
make it like a WWE Raw versus SmackDown.
Yes,
thing.
exactly.
Right. Like, have independent companies within the same umbrella and have them compete against each other.
EP made this exact point a few weeks ago, if I remember correctly, saying like competition between like the different sort of companies or the different sort of brands to have them put out the best products. I mean, yes, absolutely.
Brilliant.
You have to hope that there are people in these at these companies that are having the same conversations we're having right now, and they're eventually that those people with the common sense people win out. You just have to hope that's the case. At least I do.
You know, things were looking so bad for Panini. Like when you had the NFLPA and then WWE both come out and say, nope, okay, we're done with them. Like that took all of their leverage away from them, like in an instant. So like the more time that's gone by, the more time you can think about it, it does make more sense for Panini to have to spend all the money they're going to have to spend, but like they need to get some of that leverage back. And I think they've been getting it. Like clearly they can't just automatically drop them and say you can't make anything anymore. So they've won both of the cases against the NFLPA and WWE for the initial "you're done." So they're getting some of that back. And like again, for the hobby's sake, let's hope there's some kind of settlement sometime in the near future that we can put all this crap behind us, because you know, we can only talk about it so much, but it affects stuff. It affects all of us. Like we just want cards to be made by somebody and to be made well that we can enjoy. Is that so hard?
Do you think Panini go to Fanatics and say, "Whoa, we can make multiple 1-on-1s out of a product too"? I mean, we've been doing it for years too. Like it just makes so much sense for our companies to be together. We both do it.
They're not the only company. Oh, so EP, we'll move on a little bit here. Allen and Ginter is one of your favorite products, right?
Yes, 100%.
Did you see the T-Rex like fossil card this year?
I did. I thought the fossil cards were awesome.
You saw that?
100%. Like I mean, super excited about those cards. Yes.
Okay, so you're super excited about. How did you feel then when you found out, if you turned the card over, that the fossil is not associated with the T-Rex in any way?
Well, I gotta say, it is crap. Like the thing, well, it's I'm a little bit torn because I was expecting it to just be manufactured garbage, potentially manufactured garbage anyway. But the fact that it actually is a fossil is, you know, it's kind of okay. But also, I'm guessing they're expecting these cards to be like major hits. There's only like I think there's 3. They're numbered out of 3. Yeah. Although, hang on one second.
Uh-oh. EP, does he have one of the 3?
Is that another confession?
I think he has one of the 3. You have one of the 3, don't you?
I have a T-Rex card numbered out of 3, but this one was made by my buddy Rob Ingalls, and it actually includes a piece of T-Rex fossil. It is actually T-Rex fossil in that card.
Wow, that's a really thick card.
Yes, it is so thick it doesn't fit in one of the 25 card plastic cases. That's how thick it is, but it is actually a piece of T-Rex fossil that I have that he made for me. He made 3 of them, and so
what I'm hearing is, why in the hell couldn't Topps just get a T-Rex fossil? Like
they could have if they wanted to try. If they really wanted to try, they probably could.
If some random photographer from Danville can get one, why can't Topps?
Like I am not a fossil expert, but from what I've been hearing, really not that hard or expensive for them to get a T-Rex fossil, right? So why not just put the damn thing in the card?
Or how much more money does Rob make than EP? That he can go out and just buy fossils.
These
does he get paid overtime? Does he get paid for overtime?
These were donated to the paper by a local paleontologist. Chunks of a T-Rex were donated to the paper. They were sitting around, and Rob turned them into
the editor-in-chief of the paper is like, whatever happened to those fossils? I did hear about this on your lesser podcast, EP. Rob making those for you, so that is a fun thing. I don't just have a picture of a bunch of dinosaurs and call it a dinosaur fossil card. Like, why do you have to say it's a T-Rex? Like, what's the difference? I mean, again, it's just
just buy the T-Rex.
Just buy the T-Rex fossil, right? Like if you're
gonna go. Yeah, if you're going to go all out for something like this, and I mean, as a fan of dinosaurs and a fan of Allen Ginter, I was very excited about that set. But then to find out
apparently the T-Rex just went to Walmart and touched a couple of fossils, and then they weren't actually from that specific game or event,
right?
From my understanding.
Wow. Right. Okay, so
moving on. Looking for T-Rex fossils on eBay right now?
I was going to, yes. You want to see how much they cost?
Yeah.
A full
Wow.
T-Rex fossil. Look at this.
$80, $20. Like, come on, man. They can't spend $100 for
Jeez.
a T-Rex fossil. Whatever.
Right.
I'm done. I'm done with you, Michael Rubin. Don't even bother calling
is
me
the
anymore.
worst.
You do have a new sponsor on your T-shirt today, right?
I
Mike?
do. I am now sponsored by Nintendo.
They don't know it yet.
They don't know it.
Our
Unofficial
channel
sponsor.
lawyer has told us not to tell people we have sponsors
Yeah.
when they don't know it yet.
We don't. They don't even know I exist. Oh, okay. You know, your old buddy Northeast Ohio Cards and Comics Joe, I think it was last week, had a video up about PSA maybe dropping hints that they're going to have graders notes on some of their grading. I watched the video. PSA, forget what the guy's name was. The higher ups at PSA did a video on Instagram, and they brought up the topic of potentially doing graders notes. So I know you've talked about it forever. You're a comic book grader. I see them over your shoulder. I mean, I know you're all for this. So your thoughts?
I wish they'd give more detail. Like, is it over a certain threshold card? They can't do them for everything. I
believe the implication in the video that I watched was that it was, for the higher end stuff. Like, you're not going to be paying $19 a card and then getting graders notes.
Right.
So, but on higher end stuff.
Right. And like, I'm curious if it's just because we talked about this before. It's like, how tough is it really? If you're going to like, oh, those corners they're pretty high. They're a 10. Like, if the grader is doing that anyway in some capacity, what's the difference of just releasing those? At least they are considering doing it for high-end stuff, because there is no bigger kick in the balls than if you get a card graded that's like, maybe it's a raw card for $1,000 and you get a PSA 6 on it. And it's like, whoa, what just happened here? So to have the graders notes, it will be interesting to see how often people look at the graders notes, crack it, and then figure out how to get around the graders notes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they will. But at least it's something to give the collector or investor an idea of why this card, and maybe it'll help people grade better. Like maybe it'll help the graders grade a little bit better too. I mean, that's something we talk about all the time. So I'm glad they're doing it. But I don't know if the three of us will have enough cards of that level to ever receive these graders notes.
Sure, we will not. Yeah.
So I'm curious, like when someone actually does something like this, that I would hope someone that we watch on social media or on YouTube post like the grader note process, because I am fascinated to see how close to the comic book graders notes it is.
I really love the idea of this, but I'm afraid about the execution. I feel like when you have this is going to cost extra money. It's probably included in the walkthrough rates or whatever, right? But it's going to cost you extra money if you want your cards to have the subgrades. It's probably not going to be an insignificant amount. It's going to be a significant amount of money, and then they're going to make sure that they give it to X grader who's been doing it for a long time instead of the newest graders that are the ones that here's a 7, here's a 10. Tell me the difference between the two. Mm-hmm. That guy or girl is not going to be the one that is going to be getting that card. Like there's going to be somebody that's getting that card, the grader level, like the grader's notes level grader is going to be getting that card. So it's not going to, as much as I hope it would fix their current issues, that the seeming issues. Again, I haven't experienced it myself, just what I see, but I feel like that it won't help in that regard. We talk about subgrades, and even though we rip on HGA, like they still do the subgrades, and so you can look at the subgrades and know. I mean, I feel like that is at least a little something for a lot of collectors look like those in Beckett because of the subgrades like that. And I feel like we want that stuff, but I have a feeling it's going to be executed poorly.
Most likely. There are a lot of good ideas that end up being executed poorly.
And that's a really quick point to that, EP. I mean, like I mentioned before, I mean, if a grader is actually grading your card appropriately, they should have, at least mentally, a number of each of those things. Mm-hmm. So why couldn't they just do that for every card? I mean, like subgrades, but not really. kind of writer's notes, right? Like you click on the card on the pop report and you look at it and it says, oh, all of these were the subgrades. It doesn't have to add up to the 10 because at the end of the day, eye appeal is a big part of especially PSA's grading metric, right? But like, I don't know. It just seems like something that's so easy that they're just dropping the ball on. But that's kind of PSA in a nutshell sometimes.
They'll charge us
they're making a lot of money.
Card to do that, though.
Right.
I was going to say that's the big problem.
They prefer being the Walmart of the grading industry. Just get them in, get them out.
Yep.
Oh, so I saw this week, I don't know if you guys saw it, but Leaf has signed a new NIL deal. They're going to have cards made and some autographs coming out. The player's name is Juju Lewis. He was signed to an NIL deal. He is a #1 recruit and a USC commit. And he is a sophomore in high school, just playing in his sophomore year right now. He is the #1 recruit in the 2026 class. Quarterback, I guess I don't know how you can tell at that age, but we're signing NIL deals with high school players now.
Not just high school, 15, 16 years old, a sophomore. Seriously?
I mean, good for him on cashing in on it, because apparently they said that his NIL deal was like comparable to a lot of first round pick deals. So I don't know if that's true or not, but that is what was thrown out there. I mean, how young is too young? Does it matter? Like,
man,
are we
take it out of context. That soundbite did not sound great.
Come on, don't even go there. Ziggy will be all over that. How young is too young to be signing an NIL deal and having cards made of you?
Right.
Where does it stop? Thoughts? Nobody, anybody.
I know there's a.
How old is your niece that we sponsored her team?
I
feel
I'm not. She's in 7th grade, I think. I'm not.
Right.
I'm not sure.
I mean, let's sign her.
She's only slightly younger than this kid.
Right.
We'll sign her to a women's soccer league NIL deal with Leaf.
I feel like this is a scary deal on both sides, because I mean, what you don't, the company that signs it has no idea if this kid is gonna. Leaf has no idea if this kid is actually going to end up being.
They don't care, though. All they care about is whether or not they can convince people they need to start buying cards of kids in high school.
Right, but it's so dangerous on both so many levels. Like the thing about this kid now has all this responsibility and has this all on his shoulders. He's a 15-year-old kid.
He just cashed in. Good for him.
He did, but I mean, now he's got to actually live up to the hype even more, right?
He had that before the Leaf thing. Like
I guess with being the #1
deal with
USC already.
Like the college football fans alone are going to put way more pressure on him than the card collectors. So they're crazy. Like college football fans are
college football
crazy,
are fanatics,
and much bigger than the card collecting world. So, but yeah, I mean, it is kind of crazy though. I don't know. I don't have interest in buying kids in high school.
Yeah, there's a kid from Southern, a girl, a runner who graduated last year. She signed an NIL deal last year with a local company, but that's a much smaller scale than this. But I mean, and she was also a senior. Like she, I mean, I'm guessing that this kid had to go through his parents or whatever to sign all the contract and everything like that. And it just feels really weird.
Somebody like I don't have a problem with them doing like in that case, like doing some local advertising and stuff like that. Great, good for them. Like they are kind of a local celebrity, even if they're a high school athlete. But like when you're going this big, like Leaf is signing a deal and they're pushing this guy like they're pushing, anybody in college. So I kind of feel the same as you. It's a little weird.
I have a few points to make. One,
you got the pen out.
Got the pen. I'm ready to listen.
And I am going to take a direct shot at EP during your gotcha or whatever bullshit Wednesday show we did about Alan. Trick question, During Alan Ginter, you were all giddy about a pickleball player who was like 13 years old.
No.
Autographs.
I think she was. I think she's 17.
Okay.
I think
All right.
if you're a senior,
make my point.
well, no, if you're a senior, you're already looking at what you're going to be doing for your life, like as
really
a
thought
career
she
or
was
stuff like
younger
that.
than
So.
but okay, we'll say she was 17, so that year makes a difference. Um, back to the USC thing. USC probably has this kid an NIL deal as well. Like beyond just signing them to the program or having him commit, I guarantee you, I watched Jordan Addison, the best wide receiver Pitt has had since Larry Fitzgerald, is now referred to a USC wide receiver because they got him an NIL deal to get him to transfer from Pitt to USC. So it would not shock me in the least if USC also has some sort of like $1 million NIL deal with this kid to get him to commit to USC in the first place. So Leaf is probably small potatoes in the grand scheme of what this kid is probably going to get from USC. And my last point to this is don't Major League Baseball teams sign kids that are under 18? Isn't that a thing that happens all the time too? So like
international players,
and do they have cards?
They do. Some of them do. Yeah.
So like, what's the difference? This kid's cashing in.
Yeah.
Like I have zero problem with it. And Mike makes a really, really good point. Leaf doesn't care if this kid sucks because these cards will be out in packs or available to purchase well before we know if he sucks. Right? They're going to be out probably next year. He's got 2 years. He probably won't be a day one starter for USC, so we've got a few years before we realize if this kid actually is good enough to play college football. By that time, those cards will already be sold, and Leaf will be on to the next NIL guy, the next high school kid. So
it's a good point.
Great points. Yeah, great points.
And
I had the pen. That's why.
If he doesn't work out, people will have lost a lot less money buying him now than if he was a first-round pick in the NFL.
And buying them from Leaf instead of if Panini or Fanatics had signed him to an NIL.
No, I wonder if they have the high school logo on his uniform.
Oh, there's more licensing.
I know, but I mean, compared to what they paid for him, it's like what you throw $50 at the high school,
right? The high school's like, sure,
whoa,
we get to be on a card.
That'll keep our operating budget for another year. I joke. All right, so we've talked a little bit about multiple one-of-ones coming out of Bowman Chrome. It's happened with Panini before. We're not big hockey guys, so we kind of don't really talk about Upper Deck a whole lot as current Upper Deck, but apparently, I'm not an expert on this, but in the 2023-2024 Upper Deck Series 1 hockey, I guess they don't number the cards on the card anymore, but they're in a little thing that shows population count 1. So they're one-of-ones. Come in this thing, has a label, said 2023-2024 Upper Deck Hockey, population 1, but the only problem is there's more than one. So add another company. If we want Upper Deck to come in and take everything over when everything is burned down, it's going to look a lot like it did before. So just want to throw that, just quick reactions to those. Are you surprised, right?
I'm not. I mean, they're companies and they're all terrible. So I mean, what can you do at this point?
I'm going to say it again. I'm guessing this has happened before. And this is just proof again to me that I don't believe that all of a sudden out of nowhere, all these companies are now printing just one of one or printing multiple one of ones of these cards. You go back to even when we had our lawyer on to do his his card that he showed allegedly he showed the gold refractor from Finest back in 96 or whatever it was. That was supposed to be only the 50 or whatever, and ended up being like 200 of them, something like that. So I feel like this has been going on for a while, and will probably continue to go on as much as we are enraged by it. It's probably going to keep going on.
Well, one product that hopefully will only have a one-of-one is Magic the Gathering. We know they did the Lord of the Rings. They only had one of the One Ring. They did a good job on that. Applause.
Allegedly. Hasn't all been open.
But we're going to give them credit for printing a one-of-one that there was only one of. This is where we are in 2023 in the hobby. We're giving credit for printing one of a one-of-one. But apparently they're going to be doing a crossover with Marvel in 2025. Wow. Now, I'm not a big Magic the Gathering fan. I don't play it, although I've sold a lot of those cards in my lifetime. I do like Marvel stuff. I know you guys do. So I thought it would be fun. We're going to figure out what the chase is going to be in the 2025 Marvel and Magic the Gathering crossover. Anybody have any ideas want to throw out there?
Well, I do, but we talked about it in our text thread for a second, so I don't want to take anyone's thunder. But I think, Mike, you said it first. I completely agree with it. The Infinity Gauntlet, right?
Yeah,
I
100%.
think, and they could do a 1-on-1 of the Infinity Gauntlet and do a 1-on-1 of all the each of the Infinity Stones. If again they do the 1-on-1 thing, I think that would
that's
be a cool
the thing.
collection.
Would we prefer it be the Infinity Gauntlet with the stones, or do you want to do a 1-of-1 for each individual stone and
then have the empty gauntlet, or maybe a 1-on-1 with an empty gauntlet and a 1-on-1 with all the stones in it?
I feel like
that's like Panini level, right?
Yeah,
like
I was going to say, if Panini were doing it, that's how it would be. And then they'd have a couple different variations for the different multiverses. They'd have to have a different Infinity Gauntlet for all
I think the one card 1-on-1 Infinity Gauntlet with the stones in it, I think would be a very, very cool thing for them to do. And it keeps with the One Ring 1-on-1 theme.
I agree with that too.
I feel like I also agree that's what it's going to be, but I feel like somebody at Magic was like, or Wizards of the Coast is with the company, I think Wizards of the Coast, I think it makes it or whatever. But they were like, do you see all these other companies that are doing all these multiple 1-on-1s? We should do a 1-on-1 for every one of the stones and for the gauntlet. So I feel like I feel like that they will do all of them together. And then there's also like the gauntlet is going to be the 1-on-1 chase, but I feel like they're going to do 1-on-1s of also of the stones.
Hopefully they only do the one. I think the Infinity Gauntlet with all the stones would be perfect. Kind of like the One Ring. Like that's what gives you all the power. Yeah, kind of similar. I think they're just going to do the one.
You guys know comics quite a bit better than I do, especially like Marvel. Like I don't know anything about any of the comics, but is there anything even close to the Infinity Gauntlet in all of the Marvel universe that could come close to that as far as being the chase?
As an item, probably not. Like there are characters that you could argue would be a great choice for a 1-on-1, but as an item, I can't think of anything that would make more sense. Yeah, that's probably it. I mean, someone comment below if you're huge Marvel comic readers, if we're way off base here. But I think as an individual item without attaching it to a character, because the Infinity Gauntlet wasn't just a Thanos thing in the comic book. Mm-hmm. So Adam Warlock had it for a while. So like, yeah, I think that would be the call.
All right. Well, all I know is we'll probably buy some of that when it comes out. So. Sounds pretty
EP
cool. EP
will, right? EP?
I didn't buy any of the Lord of the Rings Magic yet. So, I mean, I would like to. I probably will buy some.
We're going to buy a couple cases together. We're going to be, making so much money from YouTube by then. We're going to be rolling in it, right?
Mike, we're doing a case project. We already talked about what it's going to be. It's going to be Rittenhouse,
Three Stooges, the Three Stooges.
No, the Rittenhouse Cheers case.
Yeah.
Apparently, they are making a Cheers set. Rittenhouse is making a Cheers set.
Folks, we'll already have the money that we make, the mountains of money we make off of that. Drew Jones money, if you will. And then we'll be able to reinvest that into the Magic.
I like it. I'm there.
All right. Well, I think that'll wrap it up for this week. Hope everybody had a good time watching us. Remember, hit that subscribe button. We're over 800. We want to get to 900,000, 10,000, 50,000.
Smash that button.
Especially if we're at $7.99 when you see it. Please.
Yeah, exactly. If we want back under 800 by the time this comes out, please. Come on. I'll give
Make
you
up
$1.
a fake account. Make up a fake account.
You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. Just tell a friend. Just tell a friend.
Tell a friend. Tell a friend.
Tell a friend. All right. All right, guys. That was a fun chat, and I will see you next week. Take care, guys.
See you, boys.
Adios.